So we're back and we have our experiment that we did the other day where we made the walking water rainbow. And just because I like keeping things and reusing them, I am going to lay out our rainbow pieces on this mat. I'll show you that how our rainbow went from one color to the next, and then getting right back. And I'll even keep these ones, the purple, the red, and then the red to the red. Squeeze that out a bit and put that at the top. So there you have it. Another rainbow that we made where it went from red to orange to yellow and green, blue to indigo and purple, and then back to red. So there's another option that we have for our rainbow. Now we have all this colored rainbow water. So I thought maybe we would make another rainbow. I'm gonna combine the reds because we don't need two of those. So we have our rainbow here, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And I'm going to take some plain cotton balls, and I'm just gonna stick some in each of them. I'm gonna end up making a rainbow with some of these cotton balls. Now I have a big bag of cotton balls. So I'm gonna let them soak up all of the liquid. Get those in there. Get a few more in. And once it's all soaked up, and I'll let them dry, and then I'm going to, once they're all soaked up and once they dry up, I'm going to put them I'll let them soak up, and then I'm gonna let them dry. And once they're all dried, I'm going to put them in a jar. I'll put each color for a layer, and that will be a rainbow in a jar. But I thought maybe before we did that, because these need to soak up and they need to sit and dry, so that I'll come back to that another time. But I want to talk to you about a different experiment. This experiment is also with my pickle jar. God always loved the pickle jar. And I want to make a rainbow, but I'm going to be using a lot of different liquids. So I'm going to be using honey and syrup and dish soap, water, oil, and some rubbing alcohol. Which one do you think? I have 3 cotton balls in this hand, and in this hand I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in this hand and 3 in this hand. Which do you think would be heavier? Or if I had marbles, if I had 3 and 6, which one do you think would be heavier? That's right, the one that has more. That one would be heavier. They're all the same, but this one would be heavier because it has more. So liquids that we use sometimes have more molecules inside of it. It has more things inside that make it heavier. So I'm going to start with our heaviest. Our heaviest is the honey. I'm gonna pour in a layer of honey. Now I don't want it to go down the side because I want to have all different layers. So I'm squeezing in a layer of honey. This one is the most dense. It has the most molecules in it. It will be the heaviest, so it will stay at the bottom. And there you have it. I'm gonna put a little bit more just so we can really make sure that we keep that layer. So I did just a little bit more. Now the next, it's a little sticky. use my little. So the next layer I've made purple. So this was Karo syrup, and you can see it's right here. There's our Karo syrup. It's the corn syrup. And if you see a little closer, when you can see, I've made it a purple color. I mixed red and blue together to make my purple color. So again, I'm gonna pour it right slowly, right in the middle, right on top of the honey. Now, the syrup is not as heavy as the honey, so it will sit right on top of the honey. You can see it's already made a layer. The honey is, let's see if I can get it closer so you can see. The honey is at the bottom, and then the layer of syrup. Next, I'm gonna use dish soap. So I have blue dish soap that I'm going to put in next. You might have green dish soap or a different color. That's okay, so I'm going to make another layer. Again, not right in the middle. I'm not going on down the sides. I'm sticking in the middle because I want to see those different colors on the sides. So I want to make a nice layer of my soap so you can see it. It looks different than the other layer. Kind of got bubbles in it. So you can see, again, another layer. It's lighter than, this dish soap is lighter than the syrup and lighter than the honey. So because I used blue dish soap, I'm going to next use water. So I dyed my water green. I had some green food coloring, so I just added some food coloring to the water. I'm going to carefully pour it again in the middle, not touching the sides. So I'm carefully, I know you guys pour your own drinks sometimes, so you might be able to make a nice layer. There is our next layer. You see how it's the green layer above the blue layer? I'll show you in the light later. Next, oil. So I have olive oil. It's kind of a yellowy color. So this should be, I want a pretty thick layer of oil because that will help us. If the oil is too thin, then our next layer might pick up too much color from the other. Now, remember, right in the middle, I'm gonna make this a pretty big layer. Okay. You can see as it sits, kind of makes it a little clearer. So we'll give that a few seconds, and naturally it will come closer to the top. Right now it's a little mixed with our water, but it will stabilize, it will settle. As it settles, the oil will float over the water because oil is less dense than the water. Now the last one is a little tricky. The last one is our rubbing alcohol. I know, I made my rubbing alcohol red because it was clear and I wanted to show you the distinct color. Now, if you have a dropper, you know, an eyedropper like we use sometimes when we're using it at school, I do not have an eyedropper at home unless I have it somewhere and I just don't know where. So I was going to try and make my own little dropper. Doesn't seem to be working too well, so I'm just gonna do very, very, very carefully. So there's our layer starting with the oil. I'm going to just very carefully, slowly pour in. And this one can go along the outside. I'm leaking a little. This is our last layer. So now I have added the last layer. You can see it very clearly there. How the oil has settled from the water that I had that was green, and the blue dish soap, and the purple cornstarch, and the yellow honey. I'm gonna turn this around so you can see it with the light, because that might be easier for you to see with the light behind it, all the different layers. And as we let it sit, the layers will stabilize and they'll get clearer. And you can see at the very top that the red is the lightest. The red was the lightest, then the olive oil. So alcohol was lighter than olive oil, which was lighter than the green water, the blue dish soap, the purple corn syrup, and at the very bottom, the heaviest one was the honey. So I am going to put a cap on this and let it sit on the side because I really like to look at it. I find it very soothing. But isn't it interesting? Did you think that we could catch a rainbow in a jar? Bet you didn't think so before, but maybe you can try. Have fun.